Update. Am I the idiot for assuming our kids will take my last name? My 29, female, husband, 29, male, and I are pregnant. We're happy about it, but it's all happened so fast so we didn't discuss details before. Today, while we were fantasizing about our future, I kind of wistfully said the full name of our baby, gender-neutral first name we chose, and my last name. He was upset and asked why I assumed they would take my name. I said it was because I thought he didn't care about his last name, whereas my last name is very important to me. Context: I never changed my last name when we got married because in my culture this is uncommon, and my name also has very heavy cultural and historical significance. I am extremely proud of it, and I am also very close with my extended family. My husband has no relationship with his family, as his parents abandoned him to his uncle who abused him for years until he moved in with me. When we were getting married, he wanted to change his last name to mine, because he feels like my family is his real family, which I was okay with, but eventually we decided he doesn't need to go through that hassle since he's a part of our family regardless. He's never expressed any type of interest in his heritage, Irish, and even when I suggested we go visit Ireland, he was uninterested. But now, he said people will think the kid is not his, and that it's disrespectful to have kids not take the father's last name. I was confused because he has never expressed any such sentiment before. I told him my last name is non-negotiable, so we can hyphenate it. He was resistant since both our last names are clunky and long, but eventually he said only if his name comes first. I got really annoyed at his implication that there's something wrong with taking the mom's last name, so maybe I was a little petty and said, "Suits me, that way people will think your name is just a middle name and mine is their last name." He told me I was being an a-hole and left the house. It's been a couple of hours and he's responding to my texts with one-word responses. Edit. I am seeing some misunderstanding about why he never changed his last name to mine. I thought it was a good idea, and so he was doing research on the process, but ended up complaining to me that the process seemed like a big hassle. After which I told him that my family loves him regardless of what name he has, so he decided to not go through with it. Right now we decided to discuss this whole thing in the morning after we get some sleep, and I will try to offer some of the suggestions people made in the replies. Thank you for the many responses, everyone. It helped to put some things into perspective for me. No, OB, I don't think you're being the idiot. From what you told us, everything indicated that he wouldn't want his child to have his last name, especially since, until recently, he wanted to get rid of it and change it to yours. So it would only make sense that the baby took your last name. Could something else be going on? Maybe a conflict between him and your family? Did someone make fun of him for wanting to take his wife's last name, and he started to feel emasculated about it? Or could it be that he started talking again to someone in his family, and now he's rethinking whether he wants to be part of that family again? It may not make sense, because of everything he's been through with them, but who knows? The fact is that you guys need to talk a lot about it, and figure out what the real problem is. And what do you think about this situation Opie is going through? Now let's go to the comments before reading the update. Not the idiot. I do think you should revisit him changing his name to yours so you're a matching family, since it seems to be bothering him already. It will only get worse. My partner and I aren't married, and when we had kids they took his surname, mostly because I loathe my surname and didn't want to pass on the bullying I endured because of it. It was all fine at the time, but now I do feel like an outsider sometimes, and, while I recognize that it's silly and doesn't matter, I do wish we all had the same name, or at least that my kids had my name. If I get called Mrs. Partner's surname by the school one more time, I swear I will lose my shit, lol. I'm seeing a lot of people suggest he change his name to mine, and that sounds like a good idea to me. But I am really worried that if I suggest this he will get even more upset. He's home now but still clearly angry, When he cools down, I don't want to risk offending him by suggesting he change his name altogether. I will keep the possibility in mind. Not the idiot. He knew well in advance how you felt about your last name. He even said he would take your last name. If he's so concerned that people will think he isn't the baby's father, he can change his last name to your last name, as he originally wanted to. It's not about which name the baby should have, it's about communication. Opie said that she was deciding that our baby will take my last name without discussing it with him first. It's the unilateral decision part that makes her an a-hole. Everyone sucks here. In 2023, either parent has the right to assume that their child will take only their last name. This is something you and your husband should have discussed a long time ago. You discussed whether you would take his last name, and whether he would take yours. Why didn't your potential kids' last names come up during those conversations? No idiots here. I get that you're attached to and like your last name. But I'm sure he is feeling pushed aside. He has no family. His wife didn't want to tie herself to him by taking his name. And now, she's telling him that the kids aren't allowed to have his last name either. I'm sure he is feeling very alone and unwanted right now. Not the idiot. This sudden attitude of his is definitely weird. I'd remind him of when he wanted to change his last name to yours, and suggest he now take the time to do that. That way the three of you will have the same last name. Easy peasy. Edit. I agree that this should be calmly talked over since this clearly has become a bit of a hot-button issue. But I also don't totally begrudge OP from kind of assuming the baby would get her last name considering all the other discussions they have had about their last names. And what do you guys think of all this? What would you do if you were OP? Would you have the same reaction as OP's husband? Don't forget to comment down below. Oh, and don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to know when a new video is out. Now let's go to the update. Update. Hello everyone, some of the responses from the original post gave me ideas for how to approach the issue with my husband, so I wanted to give an update. After my husband came home, we decided to talk in the morning as he was tired and still a little upset. Next morning he was really trying to push the topic aside, and said he didn't care what name we chose anymore. He just didn't want to keep talking about it. I didn't think that was a good idea, but I was worried he'd get angry if I just pushed it, so I asked him if we could just cuddle for a while. I brought it up again by apologizing for my comment that I made about the hyphenated name. He said he didn't want to hyphenate our names anyway. We talked for a while about a lot, like my family, culture and his family, etc., but basically he felt like the odd one out. I reminded him again about how much my family, especially my parents and brother, love him and treat him like a son/brother. They really do treat him like the baby of the family, because that's how they always treated me as the youngest. My extended family loves him as well. He said he felt like he was still stuck with his shitty family, even though he hasn't talked to any of them in years, and if our baby has his name, it would be like he was connected with the baby through that name, and not his family. I was dreading asking him this, but based on comments in my other posts, it made too much seem not to at least ask. So I asked him if he thinks he would like taking my last name, so he didn't have to share his last name with them anymore. He said that he was too embarrassed to suggest this again to my family, because he felt like it would look bad, that he keeps changing his mind on this topic, like he didn't respect this decision or my family's name. I convinced him that they wouldn't feel that way and that I would help him with every step of the name-changing process if he wants that. We ran it by my parents to prove to him they were okay with it, and they were super supportive. He seems really happy about this decision and even excited while we were gathering all the info to make sure it's a smooth transition. I'm also planning to have some more detailed discussions with him about other things we never really discussed specifics of, so we don't catch each other by surprise again, haha. Thank you again everyone for the perspective and for the suggestions. This is a great update. It's unfortunate that men are often raised in a society that expects the wife to take on their name. They're viewed as less of a man, or there's a scandal, etc. Obviously, that's not true. I did think he was embarrassed and unsure how to move forward about asking to take your name. I'm so glad you two could reopen the conversation. Key detail was the waiting, giving you both a chance to take a step back and not forcing it. Wishing you, your hubby and baby nothing but the best. Very happy to read this outcome, OP. I hope he takes time to really reflect on what a kind and amazing person you are. I'm so pleased reading this. Thank you for taking the time to post an update. I'm glad to hear that things have worked out for the very best. Open communication wins again. Cheers to your growing family. I'm very happy with this update, OP. I'm glad you and your husband talked and found the root of the problem. And remember to always keep communication open, so you don't have bad surprises like this. And good luck to you both, OP, to your family and your future baby. Now let's go to the next story. Am I the idiot for leaving a really nasty Airbnb review? My husband and I stayed in an Airbnb while visiting my sister and her family. I made dinner last night for everyone at the Airbnb. It was in an outdoor area and we grilled it. There were 5 people total and it was 4 adults and a 7-year-old. My husband gets a random call on his phone, and it's the Airbnb people and they said no parties on their listing. This is dinner with family. We have some words with the owner, including calling him a creeper. We called Airbnb and they really didn't handle it, and the owner tried changing us $500 for a party. This argument goes on and we left him a 1-star review and called him a spying creep, getting his listing taken off the site. We complained and filed fraud charges on the card and got the whole amount of money back. It was a freaking process for sure, because we filed a police report on the creepy spying host. I get he might want to have cameras outside, but who actually watches a family eating and grilling? It's still an issue, and he hasn't had account reinstated, and he's sent us emails trying to explain his situation, and we are putting him out of income. I might be an a-hole because I told him maybe he could get a job at the CIA since he likes spying so much, and he's now threatening to sue us over this. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. He's saying he lost his main source of income, and it's unfair how we overreacted when he said no parties, meaning any party, so maybe we broke the agreement. No, OP, I don't think you were the idiot. It's a very annoying situation to be in. When we're traveling, we just want to relax and enjoy the place, and then you get a fine for something you didn't do. It's a very crappy situation. I feel sorry for the owner of the Airbnb for losing his source of income, but he tried to financially harm OP, and this is just wrong. I feel that the company decided to remove his residence from the site, but there has to be a consequence after what he tried to do, so that this does not happen to other people. And I also don't think it was wrong for OP to leave this bad review, as this owner's action caused so many problems for OP. So no, I don't think she was the idiot. Everyone sucks here. 5 people isn't a party. He needed to chill with that. But holy hell, you need to calm down. If he has a camera outside of the property, that's totally fine. But for all you know, the neighbors told him. Or it was a doorbell camera. You are taking this way too far. Edit. OP confirmed it was an outdoor camera. This is a great example of why Airbnbs are such a bad idea. Who wants to pay to stay at a place where you'll be recorded and watched around the clock by the owner? That sounds more like a stint in prison rather than a weekend getaway. Not the idiot. This guy sounds over-the-top intrusive, and his tacking on a surprise party fee for $500 to the bill is ludicrous. Everyone sucks here. He's overreacting to a small dinner gathering, calling it a party, and you for an over-the-top police report. I get disputing the $500 party charge, but to make a fraud claim and get everything refunded is a dick move when you stayed there and received the service you agreed to pay for. Not the idiot. He effectively tried to steal money from you, what you describe as a meal with family, not a party. One of the problems with Airbnb and the others is that the people you're dealing with have zero sense of customer-oriented mindset or of market economics. They're going to do what seems best for themselves at the moment, rather than thinking of the bigger picture and how their actions today can hurt their business tomorrow. My wife and I have done basically what you describe, and we made sure to tell the hosts what we planned before actually reserving the property. That way, if they say no, then we go elsewhere, and if they say yes, there's a paper trail if they try to backtrack. Maybe try that in the future? And what would you guys do if you were in Opie's shoes? Have you or someone you know ever been through something similar? Leave your comments down below. So, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.